What's going on, guys? Little emergency podcast. Kevin Durant has finally officially been traded. The biggest piece potentially this offseason is now on the move as the Suns trade him to the Rockets, who I've been all along saying that is the team that they need to make a deal with. Didn't exactly make the deal that I thought they should make with that team, but Kevin Durant gets traded officially. And the Suns now enter what is a little bit of a rebuild, it looks like, as they get back Jalen Green, Dillon Brooks, the 10th pick in this year's draft, and 5 second-round picks. So there's a lot of stuff we got to dive into this, like a lot of stuff. But let's start initially with the trade itself. The Dillon Brooks piece, I mean, it was either going to have to be him or Fred VanVleet. I thought that Fred VanVleet was the better option of the two. Looks like maybe the Rockets thought that too, as they decided to keep him. I mean, Dillon Brooks is okay. He's a fine player. I mean, he's a guy that, you know, defensively can still make some things happen. He can shoot a little bit, but it's not exactly a piece that pushes the needle all that much. It's okay. It's all right. You needed him to make the contracts work. KD was making, you know, around $50 million. You had to have some guys in there that the contracts are going to equal up a little bit. So, I mean, like, okay. The Jalen Green one is a what are you getting there guy? Like, it is a very confusing guy to kind of evaluate. He averaged 21, 4.5, and 3.5 this year. 21 points, 4.5 rebounds, 3.5 assists. I mean, there was at times with where the Rockets' record was where they were like, you're going to have some people make the All-Star team. I mean, they were sitting there around the second seed. And it was like, Sengun's probably making it. Is there another guy for a team that's this high up there with that record? His name was kind of tossed around because somebody's name had to be tossed around. And he, you know, he's a younger player. He's only 23, a former second overall pick. So there's a lot of upside with him, a lot of things that had people kind of excited. And then the postseason happened this year where, my God, he was awful in their series against the Suns. Against the Warriors, as they ended up losing. Not exactly what you are looking for if you are the Rockets. And that guy's supposed to be like your second option. And he didn't end up living up to that, like, at all. He gave you 38 in one game, in a huge game. And then if you take that game out of it, the other 6 games in the series, he had 7 points, 9 points, 8 points, 8 points, 11 points, and 12 points. That ain't great. I mean, he went off for 38 in one game, and he kind of shows you kind of what he can do. But the rest of that package is rough. And he was a huge reason why the Rockets got upset in the playoffs. They got knocked out by the Warriors there in the first round. So now it's like, what are you really getting with that guy? All that being said, that's not why I'm upset with this deal and really frustrated with it. You knew you were going to get a throw in to make the contracts work. And so that's fine. Like with Dillon Brooks, you were looking for a guy that's a young talent that you felt like really had a lot of upside. Green has upside. He's also scary. Like, there's some stuff with him that really gets you nervous. But okay, like, that's fine, whatever. But it's supposed to be about picks. Now, the Suns had originally said that they were looking for, I think they said they wanted 5 first-round picks at the very beginning, and then they started scaling back a little bit. I always thought they could get about 3. They got one first-round pick, and we're talking like a week after we just watched the Magic trade like 5 first-round picks to go out and get Desmond Bane, who is not nearly the player that Kevin Durant is. The fact that Kevin Durant goes for this after Desmond Bain demanded what he got in the free market. Granted, that was exactly what the Magic needed, but it's Desmond Bain. How is that even in the same realm? It's unreal. 4 unprotected first-round picks and a first-round pick swap is what they gave up, along with Contavious Caldwell-Pope, Cole Anthony. I mean, it's a couple of pieces to Memphis, completely restarting their rebuild. What is this restart? You got 5 second-round draft picks. You know what that gets you? Nothing. That gets you what happened for the Thunder this past draft. They traded 5 first-round seconds to move up to one of the last picks in the first round and got a guy that's not in their rotation. They just consolidated it for a guy that's like, yeah, maybe, I don't know, like, sure, why not? Second-round picks aren't anything. It ain't going to do nothing for this team. So you take those second-round picks off the board, you got the filler contract guy, you got a little upside guy, and you got a mid-first-round pick in this year's draft. Now, this is a deep draft. A lot of people think there's about 12 guys on there that could potentially be, they have the upside of being all-stars is what a lot of people are kind of evaluating this year's draft. And you got the 10th pick. So, potentially you get a guy there. He's probably going to be a starter for you. But, all things considered, what was that? What is that? What are you going to do? You're not pressing the restart and you're not getting talent back off of this trade. You're just getting them off your books. But then again, are you really getting it that far off your books that you are taking back Dylan Brooks? So you're still having a lot of money left on your payroll and everything like that. It gets you a little bit off the apron, but it does not helping a ton at this point. And Dylan Brooks still has years left on his contract. You would have loved it if it was an expiring contract. And I mean, at this point, he is now going to be locked up for this year and the next year. And he's going to be an unrestricted free agent the year after that. So he's still got 2 years left on his contract. That's not great. And the fact is that the big trade that I was looking at for them was the fact that Houston had so many of their first round picks. Yes, they get one of them back, but they could have had 1 million first round picks come back. They could have. There was so much more draft capital that they could have gotten out of this that they didn't. And that's the frustrating part. It's not the guys that came into this. It's the fact that they did not get draft capital from the Rockets that makes this an awful trade for the Suns, in my opinion. Initially, I was not mad at kind of the pieces. I saw the 10th overall pick, and then I saw picks after that, and I was like, all right, they made this work. Then when I realized that they were second-round picks that they got after this, that's what makes this kind of undefensible. You're telling me you can't get but 1 first-round pick for KD? I mean, that's crazy in my mind. Surely there was other markets that and even if teams were kind of skittish about the fact that they couldn't resign, the Timberwolves surely could have given them more than that. The Heat surely could have given them more than that. The Spurs were rumored for a hot second. They had picks and tell me that you couldn't get more than 1 first out of them. It's wild to me that this is all they ended up getting because, goodness, that's not great. It's not great at all. And there should have been a lot more pieces that ended up coming from it. But that is all they end up getting. And this is a guy that not too long ago, you ended up trading Mikal Bridges, Cam Johnson, Jay Crowder, 3 guys that have had pretty good careers. And Mikal Bridges is now making a ton. Mikal Bridges ended up going for 6 first-round picks or 5, whatever it was, in another trade. Cam Johnson looks like a really nice piece. And they gave up all that in 4 unprotected first-round draft picks to go get KD and amount to almost nothing in his stay in Phoenix. which now comes to an end. And it's like, what was that? The KD experience in Phoenix, rough. So not exactly an A on the trade. First time getting our first kind of piece of evaluation for this new management that Phoenix has with a new GM, with a new head coach. And this is what we get to grade them on and evaluate them. Not great. Not off to a good start. So KD's gone. Now the question is kind of what comes next with all of this. Now there's a few things. One, the Jalen Green piece is going to be very interesting because that's a flippable asset. So now Phoenix has to make a really interesting decision on if he is going to be a guy that they want to keep and build around and kind of see what the potential is, or are they going to ship him somewhere else and try and flip that into more draft picks? And that's kind of their mentality right now, is that we're just going to start trying to acquire as many picks as possible, try and get some more first-round picks, and restock up in the draft. Take 2 years of our lumps where, we got Bradley Beal and Brooks on our payroll. And as soon as they're done and they move on, at that point, hopefully some of these draft picks have kind of hit. We're going to have payroll. We can make a push 2 years down the road. It's a plan. There's better ones out there, but it's a plan. Or do they look at him and say, we like his upside. We're going to give him time to develop here, and we're going to play him, and we're going to put him out there and kind of see what he becomes, and if he can be a guy that we can rely on, across from Book. Doesn't exactly get you super excited, but again, he averaged 21 this year. He's not a bum by any stretch of the imagination. So maybe, is that the route you go? There's so many pieces of this roster now that you're going to have to try and figure out, because KD did a lot. And obviously now with him gone, it's like, what do you do with those minutes? Does this move Bradley Beal probably back into the starting lineup? Probably. Someone's got to eat up, 36 minutes a game that KD was out there. I'm excited about the fact that this frees up minutes, you would think, to see more Ryan Dunn and let him develop a little bit more and kind of let him get going. Royce O'Neal probably gets, more of an opportunity, more time out there. Grayson Allen slipped out of the kind of rotation this past year a little bit with his injuries and kind of his role changed a lot. Does he kind of go back in there? So there's going to be guys that kind of shift around a lot. And you kind of wait and see where the pieces fall. But I'd love it to see Ryan Dunn get more playing time, because we were pounding the table screaming, where is this guy? This guy, as a rookie, was hardly getting the playing time after a great first half of the season. He was one of the few guys that would play defense. He was in the Rising Star game, and then he would go through games where he was getting DNPs, and we're just, why? Like, what is happening? So it frees up that opportunity. I'm also really interested to see the Dylan Brooks working with him on his defense and kind of mentality and stuff like that, because one of the things that this team really missed last year was a guy that was a vocal, active leader, a guy that got in people's spaces and got them going and stuff like that, because when Phoenix got hit in the face last year, they got knocked down. There was very, very rarely that they seemingly got back up and kind of would get going. Dylan Brooks, if nothing else, is a guy that is going to get up and get in people's faces and go back at them and stuff like that. So he'll set the tempo a little bit for these guys, and there's value in that. He'll push them. I like that for some of these young guys, showing them to have some fight, because there was not a lot of fight in the Suns last year. But man, just one first-round pick is not going to cut it. The question now, I think, too, one of the big things that's overarching is, how do you evaluate Kevin Durant's time in the Valley. I just told you everything that they gave up to go get him. 4 unprotected first-round picks, Bridges, Johnson, Jay Crowder. That's just a hefty load to try and go out and get a guy that you were hoping would kind of put you over the top. And all the talk was making the championship, winning the championship. And that did not come to fruition. This past year, obviously, they were nowhere close to making the playoffs. And they didn't make the play-in, didn't also have their draft picks for, being in the lottery. So that's not good. That was the year Ishbia takes over right after they had made the finals. 64-win team. It looks like this team is destined for making runs, and everything starts to fall apart. So you look at KD's time there, and what really came of it? A lot of expectations, not a lot of production, not a lot of success. You can say, I think, rather, this might have been the worst, most unsuccessful run in his career. 3 years in Phoenix. A lot of people look at the Brooklyn time, but there was so much going on there. Kyrie doesn't decide who wants to get vaccinated, and there's so many things going on with that team that we never really got to see. How many games did him, Kyrie, and Harden end up playing together over there? 15, something like that. So we never really got to see that. Golden State, he wins a couple of titles. OKC, he got to the finals. Phoenix, he handpicks. He wants to make something happen, and man, just 8 games that first year, 47, 75, 62. Just put up numbers, didn't see success, didn't get the wins, and 3 years with Phoenix, and the best they did was a one series win. 1 series win in 3 years for that guy that you gave up everything for the history, for the future of this franchise, basically. I mean, it is a colossal failure. Colossal failure. And you now would hope, even though that was a failure, that you would orchestrate a trade that would give you another opportunity for the future. Did not happen with this trade. It's a bad place to be in right now. They needed to get draft capital. 2nd-round picks ain't going to do it. If there is any silver lining, it's the fact that you think now this frees up minutes and opportunities for guys like Ryan Dunn and some of these guys. But my goodness, very underwhelming trade, very frustrating period right now. And I don't blame Suns fans at all for being upset with what's going on. The latest piece kind of in this chapter of Ishbia and kind of his tenure here, which hasn't been great. The guy wants to win and cares a lot about everything, but he has not shown the ability to make good decisions yet as a owner, as a manager. And it is steadily getting worse and worse and worse. And this was a bad one. This is not a good day for the Suns. Dominoes continue to fall. We're not done with this offseason yet. Been a lot of them. New GM, new head coach. KD gets traded. There is going to be a few more moves that happen here before the summer is done. Or moves that don't happen, which in themselves will be a move. Starting with Jalen Green, do they move him or do they keep him? That's going to be a big decision for this team. And then there's the draft. And at that point, we'll have a pretty good idea about where this roster is, kind of what is going to happen with everything. But man, KD chapter in the Valley comes to an end, and pure disappointment. Absolute, just pure disappointment that is where this team is. And it looks like, I mean, you can go back from 2011 through 2020 at a stretch where they didn't make the playoffs. Feels like we're in for one of those stretches right now. It's tough. Let me know how y'all think, what y'all think. I don't love it. I don't like it. Tough day for the Suns, in my opinion.